Kagura. Kagura was one of his special heroes back then.
Well, we'll see once again how the adjustments are going to be made here. Jumping into the draft in seconds to game number 2. Do they have the answer to deal with what AP Bren threw at them in the first game? It all starts here. You can already see bands coming out. Interestingly enough, the Fanny, the Nolan, the Joy are taken out this time around. Guinevere, Baksha also taken out. We're waiting for that last ban for AP Bren.
Valentina, with the ban on the Akai, Valentina should be prime target for Blacklist International unless they want to get the Faramis immediately. But knowing Blacklist International, it's just Valentina or Lilia as their first 2 picks.
Gentlemen, is it just me or do I feel like I'm in EVM Convention Center once again? Like it's the grand finals of Season 12. They're hacking us in Sui. They got rid not just of the Trinity, Nolan, Guinevere, and Joy, but also they've started attacking the Baksha and the Akai.
Exactly. This means that AP Bren are interested in getting the Martis. And there's the Matilda. You can go Lilia Martis if you're AP Bren here.
Yeah, Lilia Martis. But I would say I already like this, right? I like the fact that they took up the Matilda first, because even when this came up in even day 1, that was just yesterday, right, of Knockout 2, it was the discussion of, the Hitman kind of has to play both parts, right? He's got to play into that Hitman mentality. He's got to be also the heel man mentality as well, and that can work here with the Matilda pick. AP Bren on the other side, if it is what you're thinking here, the Martis Lilia.
Or Martis Valentina, perhaps. Those are the 2 prime targets for AP Bren. And, the Faramis, they pick it up. Even when there's a Valentina on the opposing end.
It's the 3rd in the Trinity in mid. And of course, they deny 1 more hero for Sensui. What's left in the hands?
Martis, perhaps.
Martis, yeah.
In the arsenal of the young jungler from Black.
Maybe get the Claude together with it as well, because you need a marksman that can end the games afterwards. Because again, if they don't pick the Claude right now, it could be banned against them, as well as the Beatrix. And after that, they don't have the best heroes to deal with the Faramis.
Yeah, the Faramis, or even in a way, I don't know if this is a little too risky here, but what if they decide to also take the Lilia instead? Right, they go that route, right? They put that in the hands of UA here to work against the Netherrealm.
And they just forgo the Valentina.
They forgo it. This is kind of the gamble, because we know he loves the Valentina. We know it's the typical matchup. There's the Martis, like we talked about. And there you go, Valentina. This is the classic matchup. This is what people love. This is where they love to shout to UA.
That's right. With a MVP performance throughout M5, UA with the Valentina in his hands, a threat to be reckoned with.
I'm thinking if AP Bren are considering getting the Claude immediately, since the 1-1 is available. You don't want to play the 1-1 when there's Faramis and Valentina, because it's just, Netherrealms all over the place. So the Claude there's a lot of value in the Claude. But there's also that idea for AP Bren that maybe what if they pick up the Khalid immediately this time, or a Lapu Lapu.
And then they play around the bans so that they can get the Brunar anyways when they come back.
Exactly.
But both teams still need a gold laner.
There it is.
They're willing to go faster than how quick you can pick up the Netherrealm.
Interesting, right? That they go ahead and go with the 1-1 here, which I could say even in terms of gold lane, you mentioned this earlier in the draft, Wolf, the rising, I would say, statistics for 1-1 so far. Like in terms of development throughout the M5 from wildcard up to here, 1-1 has definitely risen up as a gold lane option because there's so much focus on, those top 3, like you mentioned, towards that gold lane pick.
Again, ban now. Maybe Roam Heroes against AP Bren for Ogwin. Even the Arlot actually should be considered. Minotaur. Yeah, there's the Minotaur. We know for sure that has a massive combo with the 1-1. Maybe even consider the Kaja, knowing that they have the Fredrin as well as the Faramis anyways. AP Bren can afford to have a slower roamer, at least when it comes to the farming. But of course, big ticket ultimates courtesy of the Kaja. And the Claude is also a hero that AP Bren should be looking to ban in this particular case. Yeah, they already took out the Iksha, right? They get rid of that because, again, I don't even know if they want to see that combination again. The Iksha with the Matilda, that whole guiding full barrage thing. It's pretty nasty to deal with. They take out the Brody, though. So are they saying, like, hey, you know what? If you want to take up the Bruno.
Yeah, make my day. The Bruno or the Claude.
Means the Blacklist going to be banning out maybe the Tigreal, actually. Even though they have the Valentina. Valentina might be designated to just copy the Faramis ultimate now.
It's a Netherrealm machine.
It's another machine at this point. Oh, Angela.
Your greatest inventions.
Okay. AP Brand can go for the Lapu Lapu, can go for perhaps the Khalid.
Khalid's still open, yep.
Tigreal's still up too.
Yeah.
It's quite a bit. Again, if the Tigreal is locked in, it's not going to be just yet. It's Arlot.
Right.
So they go with the Arlot here. Still a lot. Once again, displacement available for AP Bren, the way they want to work around this. The Stampede, right? The Final Slash. Taunting, of course, as well with the Fredrin.
But it's not out of the realm of possibility that this is Ogwin's hero now we're looking at.
Right.
Yeah.
Him on the Arlo, we've seen it before.
Exactly. That's why they picked at fourth, because it's a flexible pickup. For Blacklist International, going to be looking for a gold lane as well as their EXP. Lapu Lapu still is there. Still pretty good. Quick initiations, and of course, the Claude eventually still going to be there. Oh, I think that AP Red might have given the Claude because they want to go Grok anyways as their last pick.
So they were going to pull the sleight of hand, like the double switch.
The double switch. Or maybe a Kaja.
It could work.
It could work.
At this point in time, I mean, there's so many options left available to you, and that's one of the beauties of the draft right now, the meta, right? Like the flexibility. The flexibility that of you have, I mean, even when you're talking about AP Bren, the Fredrin necessarily, you know, it could actually go in the hands of you in the mid lane, right? That could have happened if maybe even the Faramis didn't pop up. But that's the power play here for AP Bren as they get up for their last pick.
It would be crazy, like they pick up eventually an assassin, right? For AP Bren, maybe a Lancelot.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere because there's no catch from Blacklist International.
That's right. Their CC is hard set.
Yeah. They go Paquito. It's going to be a standard.
So that's it. We read into it. The young Ogin Onigo is actually playing the Arlot here.
Yep. The idea for the Paquito is obviously instant eliminations again.
Yeah.
Maybe the only thing that you might be afraid of if you're looking for the Paquito this time is there's the Matilda. And Red J was phenomenal with this Matilda when it comes to saving Oheb. You can see them in this game. Expect them to be holding hands together by the park.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen so many times in this game. Red J, Oheb, just trying to save each other.
I think that's where they shine, right? A lot of times if they can keep Oheb alive, and this can be any for gold lanes for the teams here. But once again, we're gonna load up here in the land of Dawn, Blacklist International, AP Bren. It's 1-0 right now in favor of AP Bren. Can Blacklist even the odds right now in this best of 5 here?
5 seconds till the enemy reaches
Facing
the
off
battlefield.
against
Smash
AP
them.
Bren. Given what happened in game 1,
All troops deployed.
they have to get the momentum started. They can start it here with the lineup that they have. They have drafted. This is Edward once again on this Edith pick that he's made work with before very well. As we take a look at the rotations here for both teams, getting us situated into the early game here, Wolf.
Martis should be looking for the snowballs, while Fredrin needs to just farm all the time. Just make sure that no matter what happens, your enemy Martis will not have the snowball potential against you. So that means Ogwin, though, with the reset, it's going to be pretty good. Every second counts at this point.
Yeah, just gonna go ahead and get that and real quick too, since we got poking happening here. Emblems, how's it looking, Leo?
So far, the fact that Blacks International invested so much in the Quantum Charge means they want to be fast on their feet. And again, the trademark boots, at least 2 Wilderness Blessings. Oh wait, give me a sec here. The Hitman, down to 1/3 of his health, dashing on through using AP Bren's Cyclonite. Thank you very much.
And I don't know if this is Oheb just self-correcting in game number 2, because game number 1, we saw that the 1-1 with the high-end try was actually pretty deadly in the laning stage. And now he goes for his own high-end Master Assassin.
That's right.
Yeah.
Say you're old without saying you're old.
I was gonna say, throw it back.
Throw it back. But yeah, the Master Assassin now being available for two of the marksmen means that trading blows in the gold lane is going to be a sight to see.
Wow. Once again, the power of this, the quick rotations, right? And I think even if you look at the Quantum Chargers, the fact that they have 4 of those, they're really looking to play around speed and movement.
Talking about it. Looking to duel already. Super Marco down to 1/5 of his health. Oheb approaching half, sending home Super Marco. In mid though, a little scuffle as we set up for the first turtle already spawned. AP Bren first of the scene. A slight pull towards their side. Ogwin and Flapteezy ready to go. Flapteezy level 4. Got a few combos in waiting to set up that champ stance. In comes Agent Zero from the flank, letting that turtle reset to mid, down to a third of its health. Ogwin dashing on through, setting it up with a spellbound. Big bong from Kyle Teasy, plus the red tree securing that big objective.
Very important for Kautisi to secure that, and they managed to get it. It was a very sweaty situation, actually, if you think about it. And now Kautisi making sure that he gets all of the farm early stages. That means that the Martis will be held off for a little bit. At this point, between the two junglers, EXP matters more than the gold. And you can see that APBR as well as Blacklist International, they will put a lot of effort into that.
And the other question for me here is really, what ultimate do you want to utilize if you're UA? You have a couple options here, right? Of course, you can actually take that final slash available for you. You can work around even the Nether Realm, which is usually what we're going to expect, right? Yep. You want to extend some of those fights here. But we have seen that happen as well. Valentina players taking final slash and actually using it for the setup, or even the disengage, the peel factor. Yeah. But right now, that all plays a part here. They're going to bring Oheb along to the mid.
Few with the pull, UA compromised, forced the flicker out. That's a successful engage by APBR, wasting that huge resource.
They might even get more. Sensui found here up top.
There's a knock-up, the taunt, Sensui using the iframes. Ooh, just missing that final slash by about a meter, an inch, rather, as Ogwin needs to wait for that cooldown.
Very nice dodge coming up from Blacklist International. And they're having fun at the top lane. Oheb is 200 gold above Super Marco. That's always a good sign, especially after forcing Super Marco to recall out. And I think there's another tussle in the top lane. And Oheb still manages to get out. Will eventually collect some of the farm.
This is looking iffy, though.
Yeah.
Oheb.
Oh, no.
Big setup. That's 4 men sent. The Blazing Duet spent in already. Oheb survives for maybe a second more. Close call. Ogwin almost traded out for them. Oh, here comes the Hitman. Knocking up 2. Kyle Teasy and Few able to just walk away.
So they're able to get away, but they get that kill. Now the turtle going to be the focus here for APBR. Blacklist International, though, going to try to keep things together. UA still holding on to this Nether Realm. So Flapteasy will make work down in the bottom side as Blacklist wants to contest the turtle.
That's right. 4v3. Few just about to catch up. Already, Edward backing out. Guiding Winds. Primal Wrath. Big bonk plus a retribution once more, securing that turtle. They got shields, but it's not going to be enough to save Ogwin. Agent Zero zeroing APBR's roamer, and the fight continues. Blacklist International pushing back Super Marco behind his tier 1.
Yep. Kautisi securing the turtle once again, despite being a level behind Sensui. And now top lane, look at the collapse from Blacklist International. They're trying to deny minions away from Super Marco, while also pushing top lane to at least equalize the farm from between Oheb as well as Super Marco. Super Marco now leads the charge just because of 1 kill up top. And what happened was the timing of APBR when they went in for the kill onto Oheb, they actually denied 1 cart, 1 catapult with extra gold, which, at the early stages of the game, it matters so much.
Yeah, not only that, but the fact that, too, the gold earned there for Flapteasy. You saw him do work. Oh, UA should be fine, still has another round, but again, Flapteasy is going to be a threat here, right? Already has his first item locked in, will be building up on the next one, and that's where it gets a little scary because Blacklist International, the whole kind of counterplay they have to is dealing with that front burst, right? And that's why you have the Nether Realm, as we see him guiding Win on out, but still, if things can get layered properly here from Blacklist International, their fighting potential is still relatively good, despite the 1K lead that APBR has right now. And that's why you see them really putting the pressure here in the jungle.
Ooh, Sensui committing the retribution there. The fight breaks out. He does have it. He places himself right behind the Appraiser's Wrath. Circling Eagle coming in, forcing out a Nether Realm. The Nether Realm coming in from UA. A clutch engage. Look at the back line. Flapteasy finding Renegade. The Blazing Duet coming in from Oheb, keeping them in check alive for just a few more. Blacklist survive. APBR continue the assault through mid. It's 3 bodies. Edward, the only one with health. And APBR gonna take this objective. A close and sweaty fight. They continue on. Flapteasy finding Oheb in the back line. Trading out 1 for 1. Circling Eagle keeping Few down. It's a double kill for Edward. Blacks International, the clapback, making APBR pay.
Edward coming out swinging, 3 kills now on the board for him. Can they go ahead and also secure this objective? Whittling the gold lead down now. Renegade also picking up the Flask of the Oasis. Should be able to help them throughout these skirmishes.
A wonderful play coming up from Blacklist. I thought that it was crazy that they stayed, especially because Flap had Flicker.
Oh, here we go. This is about to break out. Check out Super Marco coming in from the east. Edward, the eyes on him. The shutdown from Ogwin. Once more, the combination of the Retri and the ult taking down 100% of the turtles in game number 2. Hitman Airlines, catch a ride. Blacks International keeping damage under control, allowing OEB to buy time, push in down, blocked.
What a journey, right?
What a journey.
The guiding win once again, coming in clutch, but still, Edward fell there. AP Brent also getting the 3rd turtle of the game. Will also be working on this turret. Yeah. They're getting the objectives. They're getting the space here, Wolf.
A massive play coming out from AP Brand meant that they got the turtle. They got the kill. They even get the turret in the top lane and then a purple buff. So they got a lot out of that. Maybe the only loss is Oheb was able to farm into the bottom lane for quite a bit. That's a full lane and then a full turret. But overall, AP Brand gets so much out of that mini play that they did.
I like the fact that you mentioned Oheb as well, right? That's kind of what he has to do at this point. Yeah, it's not a big gold disparity or anything like that against AP Brent, but we've seen this before. Putting things into place for later on in the game, especially when you have a Claude in your draft, you have that split push potential, right? We've seen this many times now. So if it's, taking these baby steps, getting this tier 1 turret down, working to put pressure on the other side of the map, forcing AP Brent to respond, that could work, but hold on.
Sensui walks into that bush, the pull from View, Renegade, force use Circling Eagle, using it to disengage. Kyle Teasy forcing the issue, pushing in to Blacks International's jungle. And what's interesting, between all of the factors you guys mentioned of how Blacklist might be able to clap back, again, very strong split push potential when it does come down to that. Again, you're seeing Oheb now sent to the top lane. Something tells me whoever trades better or whoever forces a fight that makes the other miss out on those big swings will eventually win, because this is still a close game, 3-3, 3K about, AP Brent ahead. Renegade is still able to check.
And I completely agree with you on that. Because that also means that they will take more space. For example, AP Brent have been constantly pushing the envelope onto the purple buff.
Cool.
And now, the final slash, putting Edward right where he needs to be. The flicker up from Agent Zero. US saving him with a Netherrealm stolen away. The Netherrealm from AP Brent as well. Clapped easy. Clap 1. Edward falls. Super Marco. Sensui traded up with Clapped easy. 4 for 1. 2K for Marco. Oheb the only one left. It's a bloodbath in that corridor in Blacklist's jungle.
AP Brent again decisively getting 4 members of Blacklist International. It didn't look like it would be a huge gold lead for them in favor of power, but man, that fight just showed it. Woo. And Ogwin, if you just keeping Oheb at bay here. Lord now up though. Super Marco going to go ahead and work on it.
But did say that AP Brent might be scared of getting the 1-1 because there's the Famous and there's the Valentine already, but now they have proven that they have a play around it. Just wait for the Netherrealm to be up, and then when Blacklist International copies the Netherrealm, what they do was to actually blow onto those shields. Flapteasy just flickers in with Ogwen. They know that their combination is enough to lock down the members of Blacklist International, allowing Super Marco to get the passive. And getting 3 marks means that you will get the ultimate. It's like AP Brent were preparing for Super Marco to take off, and that was a beautiful play on their side.
Yeah, it's kind of scary when you think about it, because even when things try to fall in place for Blacklist International, when you see those team fights happening, AP Brent just pulls on through in the damage department. Now Lord going to be here in the mid lane. They're knocking on the doors, big item pickups as well for AP Brent as they get ready to assault Blacklist base. They're working on it. Final
Top,
slash.
Mid and bottom in sync. Lord taken care of by Blacklist. The waves are well managed. Circling Eagle here by Renegade, using it to disengage, knocking up a few minions on the way back. AP Brent taking this slow. They understand that Blacklist still have some firepower.
Okay, shields taken out. Still working on the turrets though. Renegade could be in trouble.
The final slash, putting him in. Few with the burn damage, taking down the Hitman. That's 1 off of the board for Black.
It's going to be an impressive defense coming out from Blacklist International. Not going to be enough for them to get out of their base though, which then again, going to be difficult for them to find an opening when it comes to the farm. And I wonder if AP Brent They can fish out. Oh my goodness.
One more time. Talk about fishing. They put Edward out from their base like a fish out of water. Now the base coming in. That inhibitor going down. Yue put down a tenth of his health, surviving, but just for now. Mid lane inhibitor falls as well. AP Bren, like a bulldozer, through blacklist structures.
And they find themselves once again 10, nearly 11,000 ahead here, Wolf.
My goodness. I was just about to say that the thing with AP Bren is they have the Arlot, and what's special about the Arlot when you're ahead is that you can fish out people from the base with the flicker play. And that's exactly what happened. Because of that final slash, they weren't able to get like snowball of kills, a streak of kills, but they were able to push the turret anyways. At 12 minutes, that's gonna be massive. They get 2, and they open up the map. Now AP Bren can just take over the jungle and again defeat Blacklist International when it comes to the economy.
Ooh, scalpel position. Again, you can expect those small plays to snowball into an eventual collapse. And Blacklist International are respecting that fact now. After hearing the conceal, they're like, all right, we're just gonna back off.
Yeah. Let's just back off from here, right? And that's always something about the Arlot pick, right? A lot of these teams, when they're down behind, they try to turtle up in the base, defend the best they can. You're looking at the real-time win rate. It's pretty low for Blacklist right now, 35% against AP Bren at 65. And that's the thing, if you try to extend the game a little bit further, that's Ogwen's job, right? Go in, fish them out of the base. But right now, despite everything, Blacklist still wants to be on this side of the fight. The Lord Dance going to be started up, but AP Bren, they're going to go ahead and just take control right now. Does Blacklist International have an answer for this, or should they get back to base and deal with the push in Lord half health?
This ain't smelling like a dance. It looks like they want to blitz it. Lord here at half health. Ogwen committing the final slash, displacing Renegade and Sensui. Super Marco moving back, moonwalking back to the Lord. Sensui, just one more weakness point. Dash it on out. AP Bren takes another big objective.
Very clean coming out from AP Bren. Baiting out the members of Blacklist International, baiting out Sensui to get out and then punish them. And obviously their lanes are going to be pushing against Blacklist International naturally. Yue rushing for the winner truncheon with a needed, absolutely going up against Super Marco. He can be the first one to receive the crossbow of Tang and just deny it completely. But that means that your damage output from the Valentina, it's not going to be as optimal as you would expect from a Valentina that gets a glaive or a crystal as the third item. And Blacklist International, at this point, they're going to be scrambling for scraps.
Yeah, again, I think at this point, you're hoping that they can stay in the game at least another 5 minutes, right? Get to that point where you extend the series. Oheb just now getting a Malefic Roar will be able to help pump out some of the damage, but really it's about surviving this first, dealing with the Lord push, and from AP Bren, possibly going fishing again.
Like synchronized swimmers, they get all waves in, picking off Renegade. Who's next up on the docket? The Netherrealm already stolen away, used up by Yue. The Lord wailing away at the base, blazing duet by Oheb. He gets popped by Kyle Teasy, and that's all she wrote. Thanks for the memories, thanks for the base, thanks for match point. As AP Bren go on 2-0.
The Hive roars as AP Bren gets to match point against Blacklist International. Struggling here from game 1, now in game 2. What can they do to adjust?
They gotta give a hero for Sensui that he'll be very impactful with. I think they were forced in a spot where they was able to get a Martis. I mean, unfortunately, they don't have a choice. You can see Bren Esports, or AP Bren, they're just banning out all of the Sensui heroes.
Yep.
Maybe this time, they should let go of some of the assassins to kind of just open up the draft a little bit.
Let's see if they go that route. Once again, we're going to have to focus on this game too. Let's let LaFell and Gideon break it down. How'd this one unfold?
Thank you very much. And if we want to talk about a textbook game, it can't get as much as textbook as this. The moment when one team gets a lead, the other has to be very disciplined to make sure that they don't make mistakes. And I gotta say, the dual mid coming in from AP Bren, Few as well as Ogwen, are doing a very good job to break up the formation of Blacklist International.
I think so far they're playing absolutely disgusting. Their chemistry is through the roof, and it feels like nothing is wasted by AP Bren. Unfortunately, even for Blacklist International, when we start looking at things like their draft, for an example, it feels very much a little too, I wouldn't say closed-minded, but clear what their weapons are supposed to be in terms of engagement. However, AP Bren, so much more flexible.
Yeah, we gotta talk about AP Brand because we gotta talk about the MVP of this game. And again, we're gonna look at the MVP here. I'm looking at the dual mid. It looks like the MVP is again going over to Ogwen, this time on the Arlet. And we heard the casters fishing people out. And again, it's all about that control. And it's all about disrupting your opponents, making them in a position they don't want to be in.
Absolutely. Once he went past level 12, that's when he felt extremely confident to use his final slash pretty freely. It's on such a short cooldown as well, especially right after you got the Thunderbelt. So it just made it felt like Blacklist was constantly pressured by his presence, and the timers never felt right.
We're gonna look at the highlights here. AP Brand again, doing a very good job to get Blacklist International under a certain threshold where they really can't contest for much. AP Brand was much more proactive all around the map, attacking the goalie, making sure that Oheb is not comfortable, to the point where we even saw quite a few instances where Oheb is not in the fight. He's trying to find objectives in the side lane.
Yeah, and that's interesting as well, right? Because when we approach these types of drafts, right, you would expect the AP Brand to be the aggressors. And yes, they were. They took advantage of the laning phase, but more importantly, so once we rolled around mid-game is where we expected Blacklist to actually have a pretty decent chance. This is where we got to see a lot of the problems, right? As soon as Sensui started to run out of steam and couldn't find that snowball, that's when Kaltizi became extra confident in the way that he walks up at his opponents.
Should we talk about the draft as well? Because heavy emphasis on the jungle.
Oh, yes.
To the fact that Sensui is forced onto this Martis. Because believe you me, if there were other options, I think he would go for other options.
I feel like this was supposed to be a hard read coming in from Blacklist International. And don't get me wrong, hard reads are great when they're accurate. And I think this time around, they were expecting a lot more CC from the side of AP Brand, and they're not entirely wrong, but at the same time, if you're not able to find that singular kill for that Martis to snowball out of control, you can see very quickly you lose that sort of control, not only in terms of the jungle, but especially the riverside.
Again, we're gonna look at the emblems here because the Master Assassin for the side laners, EXP as well as goalie, and again, making it, I don't know, is this a new meta or is it specifically for Blacklist?
I think this is where Blacklist has to respond, right? I can understand the sentiment for Edward. He's like, I'm not going to stoop that low. I don't want to take the Master Assassin. But for Oheb specifically, after getting caught off guard in the previous match, taking it this time round, you can see that once he has max stacks on his Art of Thievery, he goes pretty well toe-to-toe against the Wan pre-4, and I would even argue pre-8 before the Trinity build is complete.
Honestly, looking at this matchup here, I'm even wondering, is it crazy to go for that Bruno? Because both teams didn't go for it, right? I mean, like, if you want to survive the lane, and even the Terizla, we're not seeing it here. Flap TZ on that Paquito is also just he has options. In case AP Brand is in a bad spot, he's plan B. He can split the map up, open things up for the team for success. So, looking at the matchup, I'm liking the draft coming in from AP Brand.
I'm liking it too a lot, especially once he came down to that last 2 picks, holding the R-Lot and making sure that it is still flexible as an option, really putting a lot of questions for Blacklist International to how to approach it, and more importantly so, I think that locking Edward into something like this Edith generally got some pretty good matchups, generally a Swiss Army knife type user, but more importantly so, it's too much of a lead. It's too much of an obvious trigger finger. Something that even for AP Brand, they understood. If we take away Edward, and once we kind of out-resource Sensui, exhaust him in terms of his resources, Blacklist has no real means of finding a strong counter-engage other than Yue stealing the Netherrealm.
Gideon, do you like wet socks?
Ooh, hate it.
I feel like AP Brand is forcing Blacklist into a wet sock because they look like they're uncomfortable all around. From the draft, from the laning phase, to the point where when it comes to the fights, it almost looks like they're second-guessing themselves. Should we go for this fight? Should we not? Because I can remember one decisive fight where Blacklist International was able to dive in, get those kills. Other than that, I'm not feeling it. To the point where I'm even wondering, should Renegade use a pick-off hero? Should he be the engager? Because in the game just now, I didn't see a lot of engages.
I think I would agree with that sentiment. I think that he needs to kind of go out instead of looking to be the support to create these big plays for the team, because right now Blacklist needs some kind of momentum to bounce back into these types of games, especially against AP Brand, who are playing a lot more fluidly in comparison.
Surprise, surprise, Few is still the carry here, 65,000 damage. Him on the Faramis, again, Blacklist International, they want to clump up. The Ghost Bursters are going to accumulate more damage with more people around. So I kind of feel like AP Brand, the way that they've been drafting is specifically for Blacklist. So I agree with what the casters are talking about. Maybe open up the draft a little bit because it looks like Blacklist, they're getting red. It's their code is the one getting broken here.
I think that, especially for Blacklist International, it's not like they're out of this just yet, right? We've seen the many different ways that they approach the draft, and obviously AP Brand have done their homework consistently banning out, healers and more importantly, in game number 1. But now that we look at the damage dealt overall, this tells us a different story, right? We need multiple win conditions from the side of Blacklist International to make sure that they stay above the water and they don't go underneath that threshold that AP Brand consistently put against them. OHEB can only do so much, and OHEB, he feels like he's already stretched pretty thin.
Yeah, but again, looking at the damage here, OHEB is actually doing quite well, but we have to consider that the Blazing Duet is an AoE damage compared to the 1-1 where it's singular damage. I want to take this time, even though we're looking at stats here, we got to think about the movement for both teams in the lower bracket finals here, because for Blacklist International, if they lose this one, it's not the miracle run coming in from M3, and if AP Brand goes to the grand finals, it's a repeat of M2. They're going up against a team that is not a Filipino team.
Oh.
Right? M2, it was against Burmese Ghouls.
Yes.
This one against Onyx. So looking at the damage taken here, Kyle Teasy doing quite a lot of work, as well as Ogwin.
I think that at the end of the day, right, I don't believe that this is going to be a full sweep day. I think that Blacklist still has what it takes to actually bring it to AP Brand. They just feel a little disconnected as of yet, and they really need to start opening up the draft to make sure they feel not only comfortable, but confident in making plays. And that's what I want to see from them, really going back and forth against AP Brand. Because at the end of the day, when you look at both compositions, it's just that one comp has shorter cooldowns compared to the other. You kill the farmers, he's going to be back up in no time. You're looking at Ogwin, who's playing on the Arlet. That final slash has a 15-second cooldown at the very least once he hits level 12 with full CDR. So it really begs the question, you know what? Let's let everything go. Let's really brawl this out, because I think the mechanics at Blacklist International, their ceiling is extremely high, but it's not being abused right now.
I agree. These teams are way smarter than both of us, but at this point, go ooga booga, right? Win the gold lane, win the EXP lane, and try to get something there, because I don't know, man. I kind of feel like they're putting at a disadvantage here.
I feel like the mid lane matchups, I agree with you, is seemingly even right now.
Yeah.
Unless they can get, like, I don't know, a solo kill at some point that's really going to skew the scales, it's going to be up to the EXPs and gold laners to find the difference, to break even for either side.
Going into the next match, again, this is potentially the final match of the day, even though